I'm gonna say this, and this is a moment where I'm speaking
Oh
for
no.
myself. I'm not speaking for
Hang
the
on. Yeah,
Overwatch
but this
team.
is Jeff, the game director, speaking for himself, guys.
No, this is gonna be
Okay.
Jeff the player speaking for
Okay.
himself.
Okay.
Torb is a beast, and he's way OP. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna say that. And Torb needs to be toned down a little bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Unit Lost. I am Stylosa, and I'm joined by the magnificent Jeff. Hello, Jeff. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Stylosa?
It's
It's good
going
to be
awesome.
back.
It's awesome. All right. Replays, Jeff. Let's talk about replays because I got sent the patch notes before you guys got access to the update, which hopefully you guys are playing right now as you're watching this video on the PTR. And I opened it, Jeff, and it said introducing the Overwatch replay system, and I was like, yes, come on. So Jeff, you've got to tell me, like, just give me the whole story. Where has this come from?
Yeah, we are
Just give me.
we are so excited about this feature. This feature has been in the works for years. We have a network engineer named Phil Orwig who literally architected our entire networking system so that we could do replays from day one. And it's been a very complicated feature to bring to players. When I read forum posts, I watch social media, I see that replays are a constantly asked for feature. And it's been so hard for us because we know that it's been coming this whole time. And it's just been a very technologically challenging feature to finally bring to everybody. But now is the time, and we think it's going to do so much for all sorts of different types of players.
Why was it a technologically difficult thing to bring out?
So interestingly enough, like the way replays work is you're not just watching a video of your match. A replay actually replays the entire data stream of what happened for every single one of the 12 players in the match. So it's a little bit complicated. It's the same thing that happens when you watch a highlight or when we do the play of the game or when we do the kill cam, just at a much longer version of that. Now, since day one, this is going to kill people when they hear this. Since day one
Since
that
day one.
Overwatch has existed, we've always had the ability to watch a replay of a match that we have. In fact, we use it for quality assurance purposes all the time on our team. When something goes wrong, we can watch the replay of the match that we just had. The bigger problem is how do you bring that to millions of players? There are some data storage things to keep into consideration. And there's also some other technological things that people who have played with replay systems in other games like maybe Dota 2 or StarCraft will understand that because you're replaying the data stream, when the client patches, if you update the client and it reads the data differently, it will break the replays. So we
Yeah.
can get into some of how our replay system is going to work and how it'll evolve. That'll answer some of those questions.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Like, for me, I remember Overwatch League opening weekend, and I remember the little backstage tour they gave us. I went into the observers room, and then I looked at one of the monitors, and he's sitting there with the replay system, and I'm like, "Give me that! Why is that not in the game?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "No. This isn't user friendly at all." And I think they could click on the actions or the kill feed, I think it was, and it would load up what had happened. It was super cool, and I'm like, give me this. I need it because one of the series I make on the channel, the Overanalyzed series for coaching, I'm always going on about replays because it's the ideal of the ideal standard of StarCraft 2. Give me that replay file. I want that. I want your replay. Stick it into my client. I want to do whatever I can. Fly around, pause, rewind, jump on board, even jump into live play, all these crazy things, which would be awesome. So when I'm looking at the patch notes for the replay system, I do notice that there's nothing here which says you can share replays. Is that
We're,
coming
we're
or?
I don't want to promise and say that it's
Hmm.
coming, but there are versions of sharing that I think we could implement that I think would get people like you exactly what you're looking for. That wouldn't be terrible. Like the terribly difficult hurdle is behind us now. That's what's awesome about the replay feature. And I feel like we can just add functionality moving forward. Like I think sharing is a great idea. Hearing that people want to share replays, we can look into ways to enable that. And I think there are super highly polished sharing systems like that you could do through the client. And then there's also less polished systems that we could possibly look into, like, hey, send a friend this file,
Yeah.
via the internet or whatever, and they could have the replay. There, there's a lot more we can do with this system. But the biggest hurdle of just getting you your last 10 games that you can look at, you can watch, and have all those spectator tools. Like I don't know if you're aware of this, but even that cool overlay that OWL does, the top down
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the little icons of the
yeah.
heroes, you can enable that for your own replay to like see the positioning of your
That is
team.
cool.
It's really cool. You can time scale. So like I think a lot of us will use replays to go, how did my team lose so badly on point B, Anubis? Like, why did it fold so
Yeah,
fast?
it's not my fault. Why
Like,
is my team failed?
yeah,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
was that Reinhardt doing wrong? That certainly wasn't me. But I think some of us use it that way, but just for content creators, people who want to just make cool
Right, machinima.
machinima. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
it's gonna be
so I've
awesome.
got a funny story. Screen screenshots of characters for YouTube thumbnails. Now, it's it's not that difficult to do. Because generally what we would do is we'd use like the hero highlights or the emotes and take like times 7 or times 9 screenshots, but we get I've got a really fast SSD so I can spam screenshot because the files are quite large. The lengths we go to, I think it's like an 89 gig folder or something. I've got a screenshot. It's stupid. Anyway,
Yeah,
when the workshop came, yeah, it's stupid. When the workshop came out, Darwin, who's one of the workshop streamer guys, he made a selfie tool, and I was like, "This is the best thing ever," because now I can use that to take pictures of characters in game with their facial animations for thumbnails. But seems like an evolution of that. So, sorry, Darwin, I won't be using your selfie mode anymore from the workshop. Instead, I'll be using this most likely because I'll be able to slow down. Because I remember from the World Cup last year. Going back and reliving the when the UK smashed the US, which was beautiful. But go back and reliving that moment where where Fusions like drops a massive shatter on Route 66, and like being able to pause that and fly around with the camera and take screen. It was just like that's another like another level of content creation, and it's kind of always been like I guess it's like the holy grail with Overwatch, because like for me, I've been making daily content on Overwatch for like since the game came out, and yes, you can read patch notes. Yes, you can read what Jeff said on the forums and all of this out. But actually being able to make content is like so good. I mean, it's why the workshop is so great, like for me personally, and why is like it's like the cream, the
you,
cherry
you'll
on
be able
top. It's like this is so cool.
Well, one thing that's exciting when you think about this is you'll be able to use replays with workshop custom games. So we don't even know what's going to be created in that sense for content creators, for
Yeah.
machinima, for YouTubers. Like I think, Darwin coupled with
Yeah.
this is going to be pretty awesome.
Ah, it's going to be crazy. So, what sort of features do you think will get added to this? Like, what is the sort of next in line feature to be added to the replay system?
I think with a feature like this, you like to put sorry, my screen just went asleep. With a feature like this, you like to put it out and immediately, but before people even use it, we'll start to get feedback. Like you haven't used the feature yet, and it was really interesting hearing you say it. Well, sharing came to mind right away. Um,
I think that's
I'm
kind of
also
a really specific thing to me though, just because I want that to make content, basically.
I think there's some other features that I'm interested in seeing. Right now, for very technical reasons, we have a 10 replay limit. It basically saves your last 10 replays. If you play an 11th match, it will overwrite the oldest match that you haven't watched a replay with, and that replay will go away. Likewise, when we patch the game, whether that's like one of our big monthly patches or if it's a maybe sometimes we have emergency patch or quality of life patch that happens, your replays will also go away in the same way that the highlights go away. One thing that I'd like to keep my eye on is that the right number of replays? Is there any way we could have more than that?
Can we
um,
bookmark these replays or save them, or does it just overwrite?
we can't. It will overwrite currently, so that's like another idea I think that could be really cool for a feature is bookmarking one or saving one. um, if you could save one and we did patch, it would be broken at that point. Now,
Yeah.
with StarCraft, we did the super challenging work of making sure that replays worked through different versions of StarCraft. that is a mountain of work, and we could get there. I think
Jeff,
step
it's just
one
copy
was,
and paste.
yeah, I know. I keep I keep telling my programmers control C, control V. Like the rest of us have figured it out. It's not that hard. I don't know what these guys are doing. I think they're just looking for job security. No, I'm kidding. I am kidding. They are brilliant. I couldn't do a fraction of what they do, but so I think those are some features. There's another one that I'm kind of interested in. We did all this technology with highlights because we knew we weren't going to let you save highlights because again of the data formatting issue.
Yeah,
So we let you export highlights into video,
yeah.
and we did a lot of work on the highlight export where you can really go crazy with your video settings. So if you want like a gigantic
Yes.
file
Oh,
that
yeah.
looks amazing,
Yeah.
and there's really no reason that we couldn't apply that same technology to the replays. It would take far longer to generate,
Yeah.
you know, like an 8-minute match than it would the 30-second highlight. But you know, perhaps also giving people an easy way to export their replay to video. I guess in this day and age, even on console, it's very easy to export what you want onto video, and obviously on PC, it's extremely easy. But I thought the highlight system did a really good job of making that easy for folks as well.
I mean, potentially something like the workshop import system, maybe something like that. Could that work for this, or would it just be too complicated
Um,
for that type of
everything's
simple system?
possible. Everything's possible. Like our programmers like to say, everything's possible with time and money.
Yeah.
So, you know, like if we think it's cool, if we think it's cool enough, we will figure out
Hmm.
a way for it to happen. You know, an interesting evolution or a place that we could try to get to as well. And again, I want to set expectations correctly that we're nowhere near this yet, but you know, it
It's cool to
inspires.
like, yeah, kind of get into the mind, and sort of see where things are going.
It inspires the idea. I thought, Halo Theater Mode was amazing. Um, I if you played a lot of Black Ops, Call of Duty Black Ops,
Yeah.
they had a great theater mode as well in that game, where not only are you taking the replay, but then you're, like, bookmarking certain moments, and you
Yeah.
could do, like, camera cuts. Even, like, there's minor functionality in things like the Call of Duty, I shouldn't call it minor functionality, especially when we don't have it, but, the there are awesome features that we could borrow from something like the Call of Duty, theater mode where on the timeline, it shows you all the friendly kills and enemy kills
Yeah. Yeah.
with like a red dot or a green dot. So, you know, like if you're scrubbing the timeline and you want to find that, like, oh, where'd the 5K happen? You could like
Yeah.
fast
Yeah. Yeah.
forward to that. So there's some cool moments. So I'm just excited that the feature is finally getting out there for people.
Yeah.
There's another cool element that I don't know if you're aware of,
Okay.
because I'm not sure it's in these patch notes,
Hang on. Hang on.
but for stage 3 of Overwatch
Oh yeah.
League, the day after, like, there's a time period where we can't show the replay, but,
Yeah.
when that period lifts, the replays of the Overwatch League matches will be available, for people to go back and watch, OWL replays, which
So
is gonna be awesome.
is this a separate install like the World Cup viewer, or is it just in the client?
No,
In-
it's a separate, it's like the World Cup viewer, which
yeah. So
unfortunately
yeah.
means that it is PC only for now. Um,
Okay.
but it's a step in the right direction. That's what I hope people realize. Like all of this is evolution. We want to bring features like this to everybody as quickly as possible. And the reason it's a separate install, just to explain this again, is because Overwatch League plays on a different version of the game than the rest of us do. They're often not synced to the same patch. So if you were to use your at-home Overwatch client to watch an Overwatch League match, all sorts of weird things would happen because you'd be reading the data stream in all sorts of different ways. And for example, like if you buffed or nerfed a character in one version of the game but not the other, only the game replaying the replay would interpret the data that
Yeah.
way, and things just get all sorts of broken real fast.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. Like the idea of like going back to the idea of like a theater mode, or there's some way we can almost generating like montages from within the game. I think tools like that are really cool because I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to make a really fancy Overwatch video, you need to have video editing software. And I'm not saying it's on you guys to give us fancy video editing options inside the game. I mean, that's asking for a lot, but I think that would be cool. And again, it comes back to this idea of allowing the community to make content. And that's good for the game at the end of the day. Any way content gets made is, surely good. Yeah, I think this is really cool.
I hope people realize that. I hear a lot of interesting things that people will say about Blizzard, where they go, well, Blizzard wants to control everything we do and they don't want us having access to their stuff. And I'm like, okay, we're the company who put out Warcraft 3 and StarCraft with the editor, which literally led to Dota, and the MOBA genre wouldn't exist with that. There was World of Warcraft. The scripting system for the interface was just mind-blowing. What happened with World of Warcraft, how we opened that up. And with Overwatch,
Yeah.
we've always said we want as much content creation possibility in the hands of the players as possible. It's just hard to it's not like a switch we have that we just flip, like, oh, I should just turn on the map editor, like, oh, we've been stingy, we should just turn on the map. Like, our map editor is so complicated right now and tied into our internal asset system that that works for about 150 people right now.
Yeah.
Trying to bring that to scale to 40 some million people at once it's a big task. So it's not a philosophy we have that we don't want to share this stuff. I hope the workshop proves that to people. I hope the replay tool proves that to people. We want you all having access to make like as much Overwatch stuff as you all want to. We think you guys do a great job of it. We want to see more of it.
Well, that's the problem with us, though. We always moan and we always want more. So, well, thanks to the replay system, but why can't I share replays? This is no good to me. You know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of how it goes.
We made it 20 seconds into the covers. Like, oh, replays are cool, but why can't I share them? Like, oh.
Well, I mean, yeah, the thing is, though, with replays, I always bang on about it. When I do my overanalyzed, I'm like, look, guys, you've got to go back and watch your gameplay. Because the amount of, I mean, I get about 6,000 emails a week with people sending in there, can you please review my game? And almost all of the comments at the start of the emails, it's like, I think I played well, but my team, the team comp was bad. We couldn't push through the first choke because Reinhardt wouldn't press W, all of this. And I'm like, no, I guarantee when I watch this, there'll be hundreds of mistakes you make. And if you could watch your own footage back, you would see these mistakes. Now, it is a kind of... I don't want to say it's difficult for people to record, because I know consoles can use the share functionality to record. It's pretty easy to record these days on PC, but it's just remembering to do it. Whereas if the game does it automatically, you can then be like, oh, what happened in that game? You can go back and check it out. Also, just simple stuff like, if you get a great kill and maybe the automatic highlight system or whatever doesn't pick it up, or you don't have shadow play running, you can still go back and grab that. But it would be nice if that was highlighted on the time, as you said.
There's another I don't overhype this because like there's another feature that people have really wanted and that we are very excited to do, and that's been on our list for a while, and we have all sorts of ideas how to do this. So I don't want people to think that I think that what I'm about to say is delivering on that promise. I know there's more work to do, but there's a nice side effect of the 10 replays that are being your career profile is it's a very brief match history that exists now for you, which has been something that people have asked for a while on their career profile, which is, if I look across my last, currently it's going to be 10 matches. Am I on a win streak or a loss streak?
Or am I tilting out of my brain? Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll actually be able to see that now.
Does it show you what heroes you played?
In the replay, I can't remember the final.
So I can inspect somebody and see their replay history.
No, you cannot, because that is a separate tab on the career profile.
Okay. I would test this. If I had it on PTR, I would have tested it. But I'm talking to Jeff, guys, before PTR has gone live, so I can't test that.
You cannot inspect their replays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that'd be cool. Because that might lead to hey, this is my preferred role.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think replays is super cool. I mean, we've also got some other bits and pieces here with this patch. There's a bunch of nerfs and buffs. I think, to be honest, a lot of those are kind of self-explanatory. I do like the Arisa buff. I think that's quite nice. Deploying the
Yeah, that
barrier
should.
doesn't interact the reload, which I think is quite nice.
Yeah, she uses different arms anyway, so it
Yeah,
it,
yeah, she
it makes
does. Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah.
So, and I think just as an Arisa player, it will feel like that's one of those quality of life things that will just feel better, but it's also a buff, which is nice.
Yeah, the flow will be much nicer with Arisa. Torb gets nerfed.
Torb,
Probably
okay.
rightfully so.
I, I'm gonna say this, and this is a moment where I'm speaking
Oh
for
no.
myself. I'm not speaking for
Hang
the
on. No,
Overwatch
but this
team.
is Jeff, the game director, speaking for himself, guys.
No, this is gonna be
Okay.
Jeff the player speaking for
Okay.
himself.
Okay.
Torb is a beast, and he's way OP. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna say that. And Torb needs to be toned down a little bit. And I think what happens is we all focus on the high end game, the high end competitive or OWL, and we look at pick rates, and we're like, well, he's not really getting played that often. When you play at not the highest levels, and I've heard from a lot of people. I wouldn't have that experience myself, but Torb just wrecks face right now, and he is a beast. And I'd actually suggest people try him out. I think he has this stigma of like Torb of the past, and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
throwing if you pick him, especially when he uses his overcharge
Yeah. And
ability and that
overcharge,
right click.
right click. It's everyone's dead.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Maybe it's because I'm a Reinhardt player
yeah,
that
no,
I'm feeling it
I
the
see where this
most.
is going. Do you play Arisa as well, Jeff?
I play Arisa is my least played tank.
Ah. So a
And
nice
I've been
buff,
trying
so
to
she'll be
play her
played.
more. What's that?
So a nice buff has gone through, so you'll play her more.
I will play her more finally. Well, when this patch goes, actually, I've been trying to play her more because I think in a lot of
She's in a really
situations,
good position, I think.
she,
Yeah.
yeah, she's very, very useful. And for me, when I pick Arisa, I pick her contingent on who my damage dealers are.
Yes.
Like do
Yeah.
they actually need Arisa or not? The thing that I say to people, I don't know if you agree with this or not. I think a bad Arisa is the single like most devastating hero to a team. Like it's almost like a bad Arisa can wreck a team more than anything else.
Yeah.
Because what a bad Arisa does is puts the shield down in the wrong place, does not move the entire match, and then you've got all these people kind of looking at each other going, what are we supposed to do? And they're trying to stay with her. So I think Arisa actually takes more skill than people give that hero credit for.
Yeah, I think as well. Like you've seen a lot more. Well, I'm seeing a lot more Roadhog in comp as well, and the whole Arisa combo is quite good with Hog.
It's awesome. Yeah.
All right, Jeff, talk to me about Assault, because Assault has been changed. And
Yes.
I read this and I was
So
like, oh, cool.
yeah.
They're going to let me avoid Assault completely.
No.
Hey,
So,
I really like watching us like pro level Assault. I love it, man. I love watching that. But
as-
when I play it,
so Assault
but
is
this
like
helps.
it's like the Torbjorn
It's
of
like
game modes, where I think it has this sordid history and this past,
Yeah, well,
and we've all decided to like hate on it. But the truth is, I think Assault is a good, fun, compelling game mode, both to play and to watch. But Assault has problems,
yeah.
and I don't believe that these Assault changes just fix everything right away, and we're going to hear that Assault is the best game mode ever. I do want people to know we went through an amazing cycle of Assault exploration on the Overwatch team. I talked a lot with Overwatch League pros and coaches about why do they feel the way they feel about Assault. What are some of the problems? And we tried a lot of different things. Where we settled, I don't know if is the long term, like, hey, we're done tweaking on Assault, but it's a step in the right direction. We shaved off some time, so when you when you take point A, you have less time on point B. We felt like both in the professional and highly competitive side of the game, this will be an improvement. And also on the casual side of the game. On the casual side of the game, you'd have these moments of like, hey, we thought we did pretty good on A, and now how long do we have to hold?
Yeah,
Like this
every
is
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
It felt a little ridiculous. The change that I'm most excited about, we had a really talented designer named Brandon who was working on this, and one of the things he tried, because we had this list of problems we were trying to solve. That's how we usually start, is, what are the issues and what are we trying to address? And one of the issues was, and we talked with a lot of Overwatch League pros about this, was it almost felt like the wrong thing to do in a lot of cases was to try to defend point A,
Yeah.
because you were feeding ults, and then you were putting your team in this great disadvantage, because if the attacking team snowballed and rolled right onto point B, you were just going to get steamrolled right off the bat. Um, what we did was we added this very fast respawn. There's a short window after point A is taken, where if you're a defender and you die, we bring you back right away. So there should always be a full defending team waiting,
Yeah.
unless you're like staggered or whatever.
Yeah.
For the most part, it gives you a much better chance of defending point B off of those sort of blitzkrieg, fast rush, sort of snowballs that happen on point A. So I think that'll be a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you when you end up getting staggered on like point A, like Hanamura, for example, you get that. Well, not so much being staggered, but you get that awkward point where if you die first as the defender, it's like, do I run back or do I just sit and wait at point B?
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, I'm not coming back. And they're like, no, no, no. And then it's
You
awkward.
watch
Then
the
it's like,
circles.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And you're like, oh. And then you see somebody die on your team, but you're committed. And then it's like, yeah, it's not great. Yeah, I think this is good. Honestly, I think this is good. It does look like
We
a step in
tried
the right direction.
we tried, and just so people don't think that we didn't try more dramatic things, we tried very dramatic things. For example, we took the Volskaya map and we built forward spawn rooms for the defenders, which was crazy. We tried, and I know this is going to sound insane to people. One of the things we tried was switching the capture points over to the control mechanic, where
Okay.
you had to capture the point. It had to tick up progress, which meant that you could fight off the point. Um, and we had much longer capture times on the points. So that way, the attackers had to not only take the point, but then hold it for, sometimes up to, we tried things like 30 seconds. So there was way more back and forth on the points. The interesting thing was, games would a lot of times resolve on a point A. Ultimately, we felt like some of these things were a little bit too dramatic. And for all of the problems they solved, they introduced
Yeah.
way more problems. So we tried some very dramatic things. For now, we feel like let's try some incremental improvements. Let's see if they are actually improvements, if they make things better. If they are, and people feel like there's still room for improvement on assault, we'll keep looking. We'll keep trying things.
I noticed as well there is a nerf to DVa's defense matrix.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah,
Um,
I
yeah.
know a lot of DVa players out there kind of just read nerf after nerf for DVa, and I mean, I think it's right. Don't get me wrong.
Yes. Well,
She's extremely powerful.
I think even DVa players will admit this. Defense Matrix is one of the most powerful abilities ever put into the game. And it gives you a tanking power unlike any other power that any of our other tanks have. A lot of our other tanks rely on barriers. Barriers absorb X amount of damage. They only last for, a certain number of seconds. Whereas that defense matrix will literally eat everything, including an ultimate ability. Like if Azaria throws her graviton surge at Reinhardt's shield, even though it doesn't go through the shield, that Reinhardt's caught in the grav. Whereas DVa can literally nullify other people's ultimate abilities. We like exploring. Defense matrix is too strong right now. DVa needs to be a tank. She's also our most highly mobile tank. Maybe Winston is pretty mobile also.
Yeah.
But DVa's mobility is awesome, and that's one of the things that feels so great for the character to play, because defense matrix is so long. By shortening it, it gives it kind of puts a little bit more pressure on DVa. Like, you still have that great tanking ability, you still have defense matrix, which really nullifies everything the enemy team is doing, but you've got to position better. You've got to be a little bit better about your positioning, and we'll see what this does.
Yeah, so kind of like taking it a bit more back to that sort of risk versus reward instead of just like YOLOing around with defense matrix on, like, haha, I'm eating everything.
Yeah.
It's sort of Yeah, I think honestly, I think it's pretty cool. I think those are pretty much the big changes. I know there's some changes to Symmetra's teleport, interact. Not
It's
really
just
too
quality
huge.
of life.
Yeah.
It just
Oh, I
makes
guess
you feel a little bit
McCree.
better.
Yeah, McCree's pretty interesting though. The primary fire recovery reduced from 0.5 to, well, I guess 0.4 seconds. Not that huge, I suppose, but
It's minor, but
yeah,
overall, you know, we should see a damage increase out of
yeah.
that. The tricky part with McCree is we're in a situation where we want to buff him, and there are some things that we think would be cool with McCree. We want to be careful not to homogenize our heroes, and what we don't want to do is push McCree into soldier or
I
Ash
was going to say,
territory.
could you give any examples? Because obviously McCree's big issue is his mobility. Um,
Yeah. So if we went crazy with mobility with McCree, you're gonna kind of push him into that soldier category. And same if we and we've had this before. You're a longtime Overwatch player. There have been sniper McCree
oh
moments,
yes,
know,
I
where
quite
you
enjoyed
could
that
just.
though. No
It was
damage drop
pretty
off. Boom,
awesome.
boom, boom.
Yeah. So we like to try to create. There's always going to be some overlap between heroes. Like when should you use an Ash versus a 76, or a McCree? There's always going to be some amount of overlap, and we get that, especially as we add more heroes. It's inevitable that there's going to be some overlap, but we do want to try to leave as much space for as possible. So we'd like to get his damage up a little bit. We'd like to get him a little bit more viable without just turning him into a crazy sniper.
Yeah, he's very delicate. A little push in the wrong direction, he becomes really powerful. Like you said, as we
Yeah.
know. I mean, I remember Fan
And
the Hammer as well. Used to be insane. Deleting
oh yeah,
Reinhardt's.
I played a lot of Winston in those Fan the Hammer days, and you'd fly in, and then you'd realize like, oh no, there's McCree, and then you'd be stunned
But
and
how long
dead.
did it
Like,
take for you to go like, oh my god, we've got to change this? It must have been
yeah,
fast, surely. We've got it. We've got to change it. You walk into the office, guys. We can't have this no more.
it's. I mean, you have to be careful. Like we don't like to make a lot of decisions
Knee jerk
based
reaction.
purely on our emotions. And Jeff Kaplan says this a lot, and I really agree with him too. That it's not that we want like heroes to have all of these hard counters or whatever, but heroes need to have strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be some weakness to a hero, and hopefully that weakness is somebody else's strength that they can capitalize on. That's what creates those awesome, Overwatch big mix of lots of heroes. I should switch type of moments. Is you want to have that like, ooh, that character over there is really scary to me, but I'm going to handle that one over there. I think some amount of that is good and healthy for Overwatch.
Yeah, I do as well. I think it is. Yeah, Jeff, I think that's pretty much all we've got based off this patch. I mean, unless you want to drop any kind of
Huge
spicy bombs
surprises.
on us, yeah, I mean,
I don't have any. I don't have any huge
so next 12
surprises.
months, Jeff, give it me every month. What's happened to the game?
What's that? Oh, you want
for
to
the
know
next
what's
12
coming?
months? Yeah, I made a for April Fools. I made a funny roadmap. I pretended it was leaked. The roadmap of Overwatch development. I think it said replays came out this month. Actually, maybe it did.
I don't know if you know this, but your roadmap to us, and we've just been like reading that for the past.
Copy and
No,
paste.
I don't have big announcements. I have well,
Oh, minor then. Minor little
on.
teasers.
I have
Come
big
on.
announcements.
Come
I'm not
on.
going to tell you any today.
I have to try.
There's actually some super awesome stuff. I think it's going to be a very very exciting summer. It's going to be a very different summer. That's the one hint that I will leave. I know what our players like to do is they like to look back at the calendar and say, this is what always happens, and this is when I expect things.
Yes.
And
Jeff,
there's going to be some mix up in this summer when things land. So if expectations are like, oh, this is the day when the tweet's supposed to go out telling us about, summer games, for example, those dates are all going to be different. That's what I'll say right now.
Amazing. All right, guys. Jeff, thank you. Thank you very much I think this is the third time we've done this.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again.
I heard you're going to talk to the workshop guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
which
yeah.
I think
Definitely.
they are awesome, and I think that'll be a really fun conversation. I think,
Yeah,
I
the
think you'll have a
workshop
lot of fun.
is beautiful. Like the fact it came out of nowhere as well is I made a video. Yeah, this was probably 2 years ago, and I was like, please give us mod tools. It'll be great. Look at all these other Blizzard games with mod tools, and then I just forgot about it because then I just moaned about competitive for about 2 years.
We're glad you're off of that now. So
Yeah, no, yeah, off that now. All right, guys. Jeff, thank you
Okay.
for coming on.
Thank you.
I hope you guys enjoyed that as well, and yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Toodaloo.